AEW World Championship unification match. Jon Moxley beating CM Punk to become the undisputed champion. Kind of over before it began, right? Like, would you call this a squash match?
So the story is this came up at the last minute, right? There were some issues with the finish of what they had planned for All Out. This is how it was explained to me, and Mox was very hands on with this, with how this happened. And, a lot of the justification is like, you can't, if you keep doing 30-minute matches, it's people expect it. So sometimes you got to keep people on the edge. I don't know. Honestly, I'm in the middle on this. I didn't love it when I saw it. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
I did not care for it when I saw it, but I rewatched it this morning and I was like, okay, you know what? I understand what they're trying to do. I just hope it works in the long run, after next Sunday. If it makes as much sense as it does to me now.
So folks were very confused about this. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people tuned out after this happened. But I want to kind of go back to what you said before earlier in the show, where it's dangerous when the backstage stuff becomes the focal point as opposed to the wrestling. I think this match was mired in what folks thought was the backstage drama that surrounded CM Punk, right?
Yes.
And the match kind of almost played out to those expectations, right? Punk hits him to a kick to the head. He tweaks his ankle, right?
On the other foot that he was on, which is the bad foot. A lot of people thought he screwed that up. I saw it also. They're like, oh, he sold the wrong foot. He kicked with one foot and he sold the foot that was on the. I'm like, have you ever tried to kick with a broken foot? Like, Rich, how many times did you sprain your ankle and you had to throw a freaking kick?
Oh, a million times.
My legs are brutal.
My legs are all fucked up. So,
he didn't screw it up, but you're absolutely right. A lot of the mystique of what happened the previous week played a huge part here. Hangman, by the way, was not on the show because he's sick, so it wasn't. He was supposed to be on the show this week, but the speculation was, is this a punishment? Is this a ratings play? Which I just saw. Pablo in the chat room just wrote that. Was it a ratings play? Did they not want to do business with each other? Are they going to introduce a third person in this match? Is Hangman involved? Where's MJF? These are great questions, but a lot of this, like, if this had just happened without Punk cutting that promo on Hangman and doing that whole thing last week, I think the surprise factor would have been far more positive. Wow, look what they did, right? Instead, we got a lot of confusion here.
Yeah, and also, like, is it too meta to be like, oh, Punk twisted his heel? Is this a heel turn? Again,
I saw all that shit. Yeah,
I'll agree with you 100% that this was one of those instances where it was like, if it was done a different way, it would have been way more enjoyable. Instead, I think it left a weird taste in people's mouths. But again, going from the perspective that we were both talking about, where it's like, who cares? They did it. Mox is the champ, official 2-time champ. And the plan going forward is still for them to main event All Out. Like, how do you see that play out?
Maybe you had a stipulation. I think you would have to add a stipulation. But listen, with the match, they told a great story here, right? And Mox's promo before and after last week's promo, and then the promo after, pretty much saying, it's my time. I wonder if that was a little bit of a Triple H thing, My time is now. They're telling the story that this guy is the man right now in pro wrestling, which, by the way, I agree with. There's nobody doing as much as he is in pro wrestling. This guy's wrestling on the indies. Yeah. He's wrestling here. He's wrestling there. He's bleeding all over the place. He's their world champion. He has really been, the last 2 years has been this unbelievable Jon Moxley legacy run where, he's solidifying what people will talk about in 10 years. And
absolutely. And
unbelievable work. But here's what when you were watching a match, right?
Yeah.
You picked up on the psychology. Punk has a bad leg. And then talking about on commentary, did he come back too soon? And Jon Moxley's this vicious animal now, just plowing through everybody. The match told the story and the setup. It's just everything else that happened kind of muddied it a little bit.
It kind of mired it a little bit from that standpoint. And also, like, you got to not forget that this dude has come so far on the mic where a good Jon Moxley promo is leaps and bounds ahead of anybody who could get on the microphone, you know? And there's a reason why these guys are like at the top of AEW, you know, like a lot of the top talent have the perfect combination of in-ring and mic skills, you know? And something like this, like I think he out-talked Punk for the last few weeks.
Yeah. No, I think so too. I'm curious. I'm dying to see how that building reacts to it. You know, they are in Chicago.
You think it's one of those, again, send them home happy where Punk wins in his hometown? I think it's going to be a heel turn, dude. I think it's going to be a straight up heel turn. And I think I want to say, and I don't know if I'm reading into this too much, but I want to say Punk is a creative guy. Who knows if he didn't turn around and say, I'm going to make these people boo me in my hometown, which would almost, you would think would be impossible, right?
He's a very smart guy. I just hope that everybody does business. That's all.
Do business.
You know? Everybody does business.
Let's do some business.
Thanks for checking out this clip. For more, be sure to like and subscribe. In addition to this channel, the Mat Men Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and it's also available on F4WOnline.com as part of the Wrestling Observer Network.